Peace, peace. This is God Seer signing back in. Once again, true indeed, from the house of ancestors. I hope everyone is, raising the frequency and doing what's necessary in order for you to stay above the bullshit. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of it. And I imagine that a lot of you right now listening to this message are being tried lately. You got a lot of shots coming at you, and from different directions. You got different energies and entities that's still trying to attach to you because they know you on the brink of something greater. You transforming into your God self. Like I spoke about on the last video, you transforming into your crystalline based body. And remember, that ain't even about the body. It's about the consciousness. And so the closer you get to that, the more you see energies and entities still trying to attach to you, trying to hold on to you and keep you from transforming. You know what I'm saying? Which is going to lead into my message on this video, which I want to talk about how to lose your mind. You know what I'm saying? And talk about the connection between the heart space and the mind, and why you want to move from the heart space and not from the mind. But before I get into that message, please make sure that if this is your first time here, that you go ahead and subscribe, because there's going to be plenty more content like this coming. Share this video, please. And if there's something that you would like to add, I encourage you all to comment below. The comments definitely help others, as they can see, that they're not the only ones dealing with certain things. So it's important for us to leave that commentary below. So do that. And most importantly, share, share the message, hit the share button, put it on your social media, share this in your circles, share this with whoever you may know. Indeed. But anyway, man, listen. So yeah, what I wanted to get into is talking about moving from the heart space, not from the mind. You know what I'm saying? So, as I was stating earlier, in the beginning, is that, first of all, I know, like I said, a lot of you may be dealing with, the challenge of certain energy, certain people, certain situations and certain habits trying to keep that grip on you. The reason why is because that thing is losing its grip. It's barely hanging on to you for dear life. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's got one hand on on your ankle, and all you got to do is move that last foot away, kick that shit in the face, and continue to climb and elevate. You know what I'm saying? And the way you get rid of that, the way you remove that, is by simply and consistently raising your frequency, raising your vibration, and being in alignment with the current shifts and the ascension that you're being asked to do or go through. Step up to the challenge. Will you step up to the challenge? I know you feeling these changes. I know you can tell that there's something greater going on within you. Will you step up to that calling? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so one of the important things to know is that your mind can be your best friend, or it can be your worst enemy. So we're going to talk about how to lose your mind. Yeah, you heard me right. You want to lose your mind. You want to lose it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the mind is not always necessary. Think about it. Why do you need to constantly think? Whenever you use your mind to make all decisions, then you begin to overthink. And then you begin to think about things that don't require thought. And then this is when the mind takes on a personality of its own. And so whenever you feed your mind certain things and you continue to move from the head and not from the heart. This is why when you look in the laws of Mayat, you see the scales being balanced. You know what I'm saying? With the heart. Your heart and your mind must be balanced. But you see with Mayat, you see the heart on one end of the scale and you see a feather on the other end of the scale. This simply means let your heart be as light as a feather. This way you move from the heart space. You know what I'm saying? You move from the heart. So just to get into this, so like when I say lose your mind, let's say for example you went through an experience, at a certain location. You might have, I don't know, just hypothetically speaking, let's just say you had an accident or something at a certain location in a certain place. You know what I'm saying? And it was a very traumatic experience. And so what happens is, let's say every time you go to revisit that place, you feel a sense of fear because your mind starts to produce the same thoughts that were going through your head at the time of the accident. So it wants to continuously revisit something that no longer exists. The only place that thing exists is inside of your mind. And the mind will continue to give you whatever you feed it. So your mind gets stuck in what we call a loop. And it continues to think the same shit over and over again, producing a feeling of fear in the body. Remember, the body follows the mind. And so the thing is, the mind can be used to manifest, because every time you think about something, or when you think about that time that you had that incident or a certain accident, you felt fear at the time of that accident. So every time it comes into your mind, you start to feel that fear all over again, and it manifests inside of your body. This is because the mind is used to manifest things. The heart space is used to act. So you when you do use the mind, and I'm telling you to lose your mind until it's time to use your mind. When you use the mind is to only be used to think about the things that you seek to bring into your existence. That's it. Anything else, whenever you start feeling thoughts come up like things such as doubt, or you start to think about, like, in the past it was something that you wanted to accomplish, but you did not succeed at it. And so your mind, which is a part of the ego, is going to continuously tell you, you remember the last time you couldn't do it, you can't do it. Because it thinks that it still cannot, that you cannot do it. So you have to lose your mind, and you have to become the observer. You know what I'm saying? Your mind cannot control you. You are the captain over the mind. Lose it. And when I say lose your mind, I mean get all the way into the present moment to where you're not thinking about anything whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? If you can get out here in nature, put your feet on the ground and just breathe deeply enough, and just sit there and just relax and release, let go. As you breathe out, you imagine all of that clutter from the mind being released, because the mind can be your worst enemy. I know a lot of people and a lot of teachers like to talk about the power of the mind, and the mind does have power, but the mind only has the power that you give it. And if you give the mind too much power, it will begin to take over you and control you in your every move. So too much thinking can lead to a state of disaster. So when you go into meditation, a lot of people like to tell you to think about what you want to visualize, what you want to see. And while that is very important, you should not do too much thinking, because meditation does not require thought. It just requires stillness. You don't go into meditation to think. You go into meditation to not think. When you're thinking, the mind is constantly producing thoughts into forms. So when you go into meditation, you want to be quiet. You want to be silent. You want to let go. You want to lose your mind. When I say lose your mind, it means you're just moving fluidly through the subconscious, which lives inside of the body. So your consciousness is guiding you. Your heart space is what you let guide you. See, if you live life, if you act from the mind, remember I said the mind is used to manifest. You don't want to act from the mind. You don't want to use your thoughts to make, to act. You want to act from the heart space. Meaning that if the mind is consumed by fear, then you don't want to give that power. You just want to lose your mind. Meaning you don't think about shit. You just flow. Don't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? If you 3,000 miles up in the sky, and you about to walk across a tightrope, and if the first thing gonna happen, if you start thinking about it when you on there, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get nervous. You're gonna start trembling. You're gonna start shaking. You know what I'm saying? Because your mind is telling you that you're in danger. It's telling you to fear. You should be fearful. So as soon as you start thinking about it, that's when you start fucking up. You start shaking. You get wobbly because you're thinking about it. But if you are led by your heart space, you let your heart leave you, which is if your heart space is activated and fully open, or if you have activated your heart chakra, your heart center, that means you move from a space of divine love. And where love exists, fear cannot exist. Fear and love cannot occupy the same space at the same time. It is energetically impossible. So when you move from the heart space, not from the mind. Lose your mind. So if you're walking across that tightrope and you're not thinking about it, you are in what we call the flow state. Just allowing yourself to simply be and just simply move without thought. You know what I'm saying? You lose your mind. Because when you sit there and you start thinking and thinking and thinking, this is when you open yourself up to psychic attacks, spiritual attacks. Lose the mind. Because the first time, like anytime someone attacks you spiritually, and it's not even a person, when you have these are entities and energies that move through people and situations. These things are created by you. Believe it or not, your enemy didn't create your problem. You are the God of your own universe. You actually created your enemy. The reason why you created your enemy is so that you can have something in front of you to show you the other side of yourself in order for you to overcome it and grow from it. So you created the thing that is attacking you. And I know that's a hard thing to grasp. You created it. Nothing can exist inside of your energetic space without your permission. And if you are creating these things with your mind, then these things will show up in your reality. This is why you want to lose your mind and you want to forget everything that you thought you knew. Are you willing to do that today? Starting right now, listening to this video, forget about all that shit that happened yesterday. Forget about 5 minutes ago. It does not exist. It is only a figment of your imagination. It doesn't exist. The only thing that makes it real is your mind when you think about it. You know what I'm saying? So let go and lose your mind. Do something that allows you to lose your mind, which means you can become more present within your body. You want to get out of your head space and into your heart space. Open your heart center and allow for things to just flow. You know what I'm saying? Because the more you think about things, the more that thing grows. So again, the mind can be your enemy, your biggest enemy. And so all fear, all worrying, all anxiety, all doubt, and all depression, all are products of the mind. So when you lose the mind, you lose all of these things. You begin to stop thinking. You just don't think anymore. Like, I'm not saying you don't think at all. You know, you only think when it requires you to think. You know what I'm saying? But like, if there's something that you are seeking to manifest and bring into your reality, you don't want to constantly think about how it's going to get done, because then you are producing doubt. And then when you produce doubt, you actually end up talking yourself out of it. See, the mind, again, I think I remember, you know, Dr. Valentine saying once that your thoughts are like children. They're constantly trying to get your attention. They're nagging you. When you don't give them your attention, they nag you even harder and harder, trying to get you and convince you to slip back into your old frequency, your old paradigm, your old ways of living. You know what I'm saying? And then this is when you become paralyzed by fear. And remember, when you move from the heart space, you move from a place of divine love, true love, the energy and the frequency of love. You know, I'm talking about the frequency. I ain't talking about human definition of love and shit. You know, I'm talking about real love. A lot of people think love and self-love is just about taking bubble baths and, you know what I'm saying, splashing cologne on and buying yourself something nice and all of that. That's cool, and that is a form of taking care of yourself. But self-love don't really have, the self-love I'm talking about is a frequency. It's a vibration that has nothing to do with anything external. You know what I'm saying? The energy that you possess inside of you mean you can be in a shitstorm on the outside, but your level of self-love still radiates inside of you no matter what your external circumstances look like. You don't have to go and buy yourself something to make yourself feel good. You don't have to go get anything to make yourself feel good. You don't have to have a mate or a partner to make yourself feel good or feel loved, because you are the frequency of love. And when you move from that frequency, you don't have fear. And so when you act from the heart space, you don't move from a place of doubt. The mind is what produces doubt. The mind is what encourages you that you can't do it. You can't do X, Y, and Z. Now remember, like I said, seeds are planted in the mind. The mind is a fertile garden. So you want to look at your mind as a fertile garden. Whenever you plant seeds in the mind, the more you water those seeds, the more those things grow. So you want to be at a space where you don't do a lot of thinking. You just want to lose your mind, because the mind can produce many things, and all of those experiences that you had in the past, you still reliving them and replaying them through your mind. This is why we get caught up in a time loop. We get stuck in a loop of repeating the same things over and over, because our mind is continuously producing the same things over and over, because we won't lose our mind. And so whenever you lose the mind, whenever those things try to pop up into your mind, you just stop thinking. You just completely let go. You can observe the thought, but don't become attached to the thought, and simply just lose your mind, come back to the heart, and move from the heart space. And eventually what you will find is that those thoughts that used to creep into your mind will slowly start to dissipate, because you're not giving them any more attention. They want your attention. But when they see that you're not giving them your attention, then, they'll start to dissipate. And from there, this is when you can start to think about, when you do choose to think, only think about the things that match your heart. So what do I mean? This is why your heart and mind must be balanced. So your heart's desires, your thoughts should reflect your heart's desires. And in most cases, a lot of people that's not the case. Your heart desires one thing, your heart's desires are one thing, but your mind is telling you the opposite, that what your heart desires is not possible, it can't happen, it won't happen. Those are your enemies, and those are the seeds that you planted. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever you have something or someone trying to attack you energetically, the mind is the only thing that can make that shit real. When you believe it and you feel like you are at the mercy of another entity or energy, then you are. You know what I'm saying? But when you lose your mind and you don't allow a thought to sit in your mind for long enough for it to manifest anything, physical, then that shit won't work. It doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? See, The mind, the mind of a person who's on a lower vibration is the mind of a person that can be overcome and overtaken by such energy. You know what I'm saying? And the energy that's coming at you probably right now, or anything that's coming towards you in order to stop you, it's really not there to stop you. It's there to make you stronger and become God. You know what I'm saying? This is the season for you to become who you came here to be. I'm talking about supernatural shit. Supernatural power. Listen. This new paradigm is a frequency where you can actually work with energy in a way that you can create things out of thin air. It's like magical. You know what I'm saying? This shit is real. I'm talking about real magic. I ain't talking about, that sit down in the kitchen and, you know what I'm saying, whip up some shit type. I'm talking about this right here is like superhero type shit. When you look at I don't know how many of you all remember the cartoon Captain Planet. That was based off of real energy and real superpowers. That's the type of shit we supposed to be on, That's based off of us, you know what I'm saying? This is based off of us. The ancient ones, the ancient superheroes, or Heru. Heru is the superhero. All superheroes are based off the energy of Heru, the hero. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. And so we got that ability. When you remember that cartoon Captain Planet, where for all your powers combined, I am earth, fire, air, and water coming in to make one. This is the type of energy that we have to, this type of energy that I work with. And this type of energy that a lot of us that are really attuned and tapped into the higher frequencies work with. Meaning we call in elements. We work directly with the elements of nature, the elements of the universe. We work with the divine connection. You know what I'm saying? What is a candle to the wind? You know what I'm saying? You got people and you got things that work as symbols for the mind. Remember, candle magic is very effective because the flame is symbolic of the mind. This is why you stare at a flame. It puts your mind into a theta state. And when you get into that state, your mind is able to produce things more rapidly because you're in a state of reception. You can receive things more into the mind. And the darkness surrounding the flame represents the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is the void, it's the darkness, it's what everything comes out of. And the flame represents the consciousness, the conscious mind. You know what I'm saying? So this all is symbols for the mind. But when you lose your mind, you can lose the candle. You can still use it from time to time as a tool. But what I'm saying is, when you lose your mind, you lose the need to have anything or any tool, because you become the flame. You become the wind. You become the earth element. You become the water. You move these elements. So if you worried about some low level energy or entity sitting somewhere with a candle wishing things on you, that shit can't exist on a higher frequency. That shit don't even exist once you get on this frequency here. You understand? It don't work. It don't even work. That was just a test for you to overcome that. You step over that shit. You know what I'm saying? You start stepping on shit with ease. So if you working directly with elements, you working with wind. What's a candle to the wind? You know what I'm saying? When you know how to conjure up the air element and send it toward it and send it directly in the direction of the thing that you feel like is harming you, we can blow that candle right the fuck out. Matter of fact, we can knock the whole house over if we need to. That's the type of energy that we working with when we get into our higher frequency, where we are in tune and connected with the elements, and we don't need external things like we used to. You know what I'm saying? The people who need those things I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, because every now and again we use the tools that we have still. But the people who need those things and they use those things constantly, you know what I'm saying, for the wrong reasons, end up, they don't realize that they're like kindergartners in this shit. They not really, they think they're doing something greater, when in reality they just getting started. You know what I'm saying? And we all at different levels, and we all have to learn. And you got to learn how to lead from the heart space, meaning you don't judge. You know, you don't. You know, you just look at these individuals. Just look at them as just somebody who's just like still in training. We all are to a degree, but we are all in different grades and different classes. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are still here. We are down here getting our masters. You know who you are. Starseed. You know what I'm saying? The chosen few. The selected. The elected. We are here. And we not going nowhere. The only place we going is to the next realm. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what we have to remember. So not to get off track, but I had to bring that point up because a lot of people I know are, a lot of the people that's on the brink of this shift notice that the closer they get, the more attacked they get. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you can feel something on the other end of that. You can feel the shift taking place. You can feel yourself on the brink of something greater. And the reason why I had to bring up that point is because the only time that any of that shit becomes real is when you accept it as real inside of your mind. Your mind is what makes it real. None of that shit is real unless you make it real in the mind. This is why you lose your mind. Lose it. It's not even necessary. All your problems only exist in your mind, and your mind is what's constantly creating this shit. So if you got something that you don't like, you know what I'm saying? You don't like paying bills and shit. Like, you don't like that shit. You don't like certain niggas that's around you. You don't like dealing with people who vibrate on a lower frequency. You don't like your boss at work. You don't like the job you go to. Then just stop thinking about that shit. You want to sit still, and you want to get yourself to a space where none of that shit ever existed at all. So this means losing your mind and the thought of any of those things even existing. Even if you go there physically, your mind should not be there. Your mind should not be, you should not, these things should not live in your mind, is what I'm saying. Instead, you want to replace it with the things that your heart desires, where you would like to see yourself. And eventually, that is the thing that will become real. But when you keep complaining about the same situation, you are only reinforcing the thing that you don't like. So, again, move from the heart space. Because when you move from the mind, you become paralyzed by fear. We have to learn to move despite fear. You get me? So, we have to be able to move from a place of fearlessness. You know what I'm saying? A space of love. Get on the love frequency. Can you feel it? Can you feel that? Get on the love frequency. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, this whole shit, man, like, it's real. I'm tripping off this shit. I'm like geeked up right now, because I'm just getting so many downloads and epiphanies right now. Like, I'm looking at this shit like, man, we come down here, this shit is not like Earth is just one big ass fucking game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a playground, it's a game. You literally can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, humans tend to be locked in this box to where you think you have to do X, Y, and Z, and you have to do it this way. You have to get up and go to work and get a job, and nigga, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, nigga. If you want to, this is what I mean by living in the flow state. Whatever your soul is led to do that shit, nigga. I don't care whatever it is, do it. If you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how crazy it sounds, like the soul doesn't have boundaries. This is why it's important to allow yourself to live from the heart space. Because when you live from the heart space, you just simply flowing. You moving. You're not thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? If you are if you are doing, qigong, type practices, for example, when you're going through those movements, you're not thinking about it. You're not thinking about your next movement. You become the movement. Get out of the heart, out of the head, and become the movement. You don't have to think about it. If you're an artist, you know what I'm saying? To all my artists out there, if you're an artist, whether you're an artist that uses a pen, you use paint, when you painting, you know what I'm saying? It's like something just takes over you. It's not even you. The mind is not the thing that's controlling your hand and your arm as it paints those arches, as it paints those colors a certain way. This is all coming from the heart space. This is coming from the heart space, and your creative energy comes, of course, from your sacral. But the heart is the center. You're not thinking about it. You just doing it. You just flowing with it. And then, before you know it, by the time that painting or that picture is over, you come out of trance, and it's like, damn, I got lost in that painting. I don't even know who painted that, because you were in a state of stillness. You were in a state of bliss. You are in the present moment. And anytime you are in the mind, you are not in the present moment. Thought is what exists outside of the present moment, because thought is in synchronicity with time, and time does not represent the present moment. Time is always keeping you, see, when you measure time, thought and time go hand in hand, because when you think, you're either thinking about something that has happened or something that will happen. The future does not exist. It is not here. The past does not exist. It is only a figment or a memory inside of your imagination. Neither exists. All that exists is right now. And if you're constantly thinking about what could and what might happen in the future, you are in fact creating your future with those very thoughts. You are creating it, which makes it real. Lose your mind. And as an artist, myself, I'm an artist as well. I'm an artist. So when I'm doing music, if I step inside of the booth, I become so engulfed in the moment that I'm not thinking about the words. I don't even take the paper in the booth. And some of the people that's been in the studio with me over time knows that I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And nothing against that, but I'm just saying I like to have whatever coming out of me is coming out of me when I step inside of that booth. I'm on another frequency. I'm in another zone. I'm so locked into the moment that the mind it doesn't exist. This is what I mean by losing your mind. You know what I'm saying? You see a basketball player, whenever he gets in the zone, he's on, they say he's on fire. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, he on fire. My man just hit, you know what I'm saying, 5 threes in a row. You know what I mean? He's not thinking. If you think about the shot before you take it, you're gonna miss the shot. Stop thinking about it. Just let the heart space move you. Just do it. If you feel it in your heart and you really feel like, this is what my heart desires. I desire to hit this shot. You feel it in your heart and you know that that's what you seeking to do. Just fucking do it. Don't think about it, because when you think about it and you stop and think, you give yourself time to doubt it. And when you doubt it, when the mind produces a doubt, it's sending a signal to the universe that you don't even believe it, or you don't even know it. Fuck belief. You want to know. You know what I'm saying? You got to know it. And this is how you move from the heart space. So again, let your thoughts reflect your heart's greatest desires. Whatever your heart desires, your mind should match that. So if you still thinking about all of the shit that could go wrong, then you're not in alignment. You know what I'm saying? Every now and again, you're going to get thoughts that come in that's going to test you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to creep back in. Remember, these thought forms take on an energy and a mind of their own. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you want to make sure that, again, you're moving from the heart space and not from, you know, the head space. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to come on here and talk about today, man. I might do a part 2 of this. And remember, you know what I'm saying? If you need help with any of these things and balancing these energies, again, you can reach me directly. One of the things I specialize in is helping people with energy transmutation. You know what I'm saying? Showing you how to turn dense energies into light. You know, remember, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed and transmuted. You know what I'm saying? And there are certain ways you can do that. So, you know, again, man, come see me, reach out. We're going to help you turn that pain into strength. We're going to help you turn that doubt into confidence. And you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you're seeking to bring into existence, let's do it. Let's get it done. I would love to be of assistance. Again, if you need to book a consult, you can contact directly, email info@thehouseofancestors.com, or you can go directly to the website, thehouseofancestors.com, and book it from there. Just, you know, pick a date. I just freed up the calendar. The calendar is clear right now. I have no date. Pretty much most days are open on there now because I just started back doing consultations. So get in there now while you can if you need it. And again, you know, it's God I see, and I appreciate everybody for listening. If you're still listening, man, please go ahead and subscribe. You know, please go ahead and share this. And again, most importantly, I want to hear from you. So leave a comment at the bottom. I want to hear what your experience is, because again, man, listen, to the chosen few, we in this together, and it's our time. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Let's get it. Catch y'all on the next one, man. It's God I see from the House of Ancestors. Peace.